I am Marwan Cameron, and this is The Conduit. All right, y'all, it is February 15, 2022. Kitsap County, 47 degrees. So glad that you can be here with us this evening. Back by popular demand. Deborah Jackson, surviving change. And you know, when she's here, she's got something to talk about. So we're excited to have her back. She's got so many things going on. You know, there's a big event coming up this weekend, so she'll tell everyone about that because it's here. One of the busiest people in the county, for sure. So let's go ahead and just jump right on in with Miss Deborah Jackson. Miss Deborah, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Marwan. I'm just so glad to be here. I missed all of you. Yes.
For sure. Well, we missed you too. We know that you are busy planning your event. Why don't you let everyone know about that before we touch this thing off tonight on why we're here?
Well, as everyone know, I'm doing the Washington State African American Achievement Awards. It's our 9th annual, and it's this February 19, 2022 at Crossroads Neighborhood Church, which we will be having the social hour at 4:00 p.m. Our dinner will be served at 5. The doors open at 6:30 p.m. For the show. As you know, we're having that powerful, great Grammy Award winner, Leandria Johnson, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. We'll be having Bridget Bazile flying in from Lyons, France, our fabulous opera singer. And we'll hear some opera in Italian. And then we'll have those disciples of mine all the way from Memphis, Tennessee, talking about something about that name Jesus. So we'll definitely be having that going on. So we hope to see everybody there, come out to support, gather, get to know one another. You know, we're honoring Dr. Kimberly Riley and Ken Riley, Senator Tawana Noble, and her husband, J.R. Noble. We're honoring that great man, but that great woman, Leslie Jones, and Judge Richard Jones, her husband. We are honoring Apostle David Davis and Pastor Sharon Davis of Lakewood, Washington. And then our very own Ron and Faye Flemister of Kitsap County, Bremerton, Washington. And they've been owning their own business for over 30 years and leading this community for over 30 plus years and sharing their knowledge with African American businesses and all people of color for the past 30 years. So we're asking that all of you come out and support us and greet and mingle and network with one another, because serving your community is bigger than just one person and one organization. And another thing I wanted to let you know, on the 24th, we will have a pop-up clinic at Sinclair Missionary Baptist Church from 1 to 6 p.m. for all those who need vaccination and those who need their second vaccine. So we all want you to do that. And another thing, as everyone knows, that I am a funeral director with the House of Scott. I'm the assistant. And I wanted to let you know we have a loved one that has passed away. We cannot locate their family member who passed away last night. So if anybody knows of anything of the Epps family, please contact me at 360-698-0316. Once again, my phone number is 360-698-0316. We need to find the family, if there's any family left.
So, Deborah, I'm going to put this in the chat. So you said that there's a COVID pop-up clinic on February 24th. And where was that again?
At Sinclair Missionary Baptist Church.
And what time?
From 1 to 6 p.m.
Okay. And are all of the vaccines available? J&J, Moderna, and
Pfizer, Medina, and Johnson and Johnson. And
all
we're doing
right,
boosters
1 to
for the
6
children.
p.m.
And the children, yes.
All right, and give me your phone number again to contact you,
At
to contact the family.
yes, 360. As far as the vaccine clinic, they can call the office. That's 360-471-0865.
Mm-hmm. And for the missing family
Yes,
members.
that's 360-689-0316. And we're trying to find the family members of this loved one.
Okay, and can you give us the loved one's name that we've lost?
At this time, I'm just looking for the Epps family.
The Epps family. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So Epps family, please contact Miss Deborah at this number here. Okay. And share this information out. That is so important, especially during a time like now. So our prayers and condolences go to the family and friends. Um, yeah, that's we're losing too many folks.
Correct.
We're losing
Correct.
too many people.
Definitely. But you know, I am very excited. Life still goes on. As you know, I lost my brothers and close relatives recently. And I am so excited to be here, not just because of the event that I want everyone to come out and support the vaccine clinic, but our new program, our new director, Anton Robertson, gang prevention, gang intervention, and for women, and young men, and all whatever age, individuals transitioning the prison system, transitioning back into our community. So I'm men of motivation and sisters. So, and Anton is our new director. We've been having the support and meeting with Commissioner Garrido and the Human Resource Director, Douglas Washburn, this past week and this past Saturday. So to bring those in and reaching those individuals. So now I'm going to cut myself short and introduce everyone to Men of Motivations and Sisters, a new program that's surviving change. Anton Robinson.
All right, there, Mr. Anton. It is a pleasure to meet you, sir. I'm so glad that you are here and doing this work that is so dire and critical. It's always been important, but even more so in this time. So, if you would tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, my name is Anton Robinson. I grew up in a whole bunch of different places. I'm from Portland, Oregon, but you could say I just grew up in a whole bunch of different hoods across the United States from time to time in my life. Um, I've been through all the little juveniles and prison system in the state of Washington upon my journey through from my juvenile to my adulthood, and upon that journey, I've matured and you grow up and you start looking back at your life and you start realizing that you don't want that to be your legacy, and people in your life, people in your life, excuse me, people that really care about you in your life, you really lose contact from, and you start to really only have what you're caught up in, and you get to chasing these dragons and these demons that you got as a kid, and it's hard to rebound from that. And so over my time going through the system, being young, I realized that the only way, like for me, to give back to the community is really to help these kids not do anything that I did. And I may not be able to stop gangs today, but what we can create is a way that these kids start looking at gang members, because most gangs were created for protection of a community, and we went away from the protection of a community. So my program has active gang members that are changing their life, showing these kids that they're going through the same things that they're going through, so they have an understanding and a mutual bond just in pain and the suffering and, you know, trauma that kids that go through the streets and gang banging and drugs and having parents on drugs go through. So my program is based off of my experiences of my life as a child. Grew up really looking at the world with a bad image, like, if it's a God, how could I be going through this? Or the fact that I had to watch my parents do the things that they did in their life. And we all know this, as kids, you pick up things faster when you're younger than you do as you get older. So if we can show kids different ways to look at things in their life that a lot of us didn't change the cycles on, we can start changing the community, and we could really have a real big impact on changing the world, because the world is dark right now. And to be a kid, I would be scared, because it's hard to feel protected in a world where they're showing you the people that protect you as well as the people that love you can hurt you. And we don't have enough people willing to say that. And I'm not saying that I'm not attacking law enforcement. That's not what I'm going to do. What I will say is this: we need to start being honest with ourselves and with our neighbors. We need to be honest, and we need to know that there's ugly things out there, and we need to really start coming together to come from that. And what you do is you got to start showing people the love. So for me to give back to the community, my mother, my uncles, my grandmas, my cousins, and everybody that's been a part of the struggle that I've been through that I don't know, and these kids that need my help, you know, we all need to show them what love is. And that's where that starts. You start showing them that we need to come back to really the Black community was built from, what we know. Respect your elders, love your mother, respect your mother, look up to your father. We've allowed people to give us an image since we were little kids to believe that we don't come from nothing. But I want these little kids, not even if they're just from the African-American culture, everybody's culture did something great. That's why they're a culture. That's why they're recognized. I want these little kids to start recognize the greatness from where they come from, the greatness in their parents, and start finding the greatness in them young. You know, and I mean, that's my passion. For me to give back and me to feel like I paid my debt to society for all my wrongs is to save every youth I can from being behind a wall, locked behind a door, because that's not helping somebody that already feels like the world is against them. It's only it breeds hate. It doesn't breed love. So what I'm trying to do is have everybody be involved in my program, the world, if they want to be, because it's reach one, teach one, you know? Like, I was blessed to have people that seen the potential in me, because, you know, when you're a child and you're troubled and you're a youth, and once you mess up once, you're just labeled a troublemaker. So it's hard for you to come back, because really, if we're honest, once you commit a crime, there is no second chance. Them kids don't get to come back. They don't get a second chance. And the stuff that they have to go through in their life just to be another honorable citizen, so complicated for kids who can't even get their parents to show up to a football game, that it only traps them in a cycle that we all know. You know? So, I mean, that's a little, I guess, you know, I've never done this. This is all new to me. It's a beautiful thing.
So let me ask you, you're kind of going into, you know, why you find yourself here. How old are you, Anton?
I'm 41.
All right. So how do you get to this point? Because, you know, as a 41-year-old man, right, you know, got yourself to this place, but now you're like, I need to do more. I need to give back. What is that mindset?
It comes from anybody that's been in the streets, man. If you're human and you got a soul, and you know, a lot of people, we do things in our past, and a lot of times we don't deal with those demons. And then eventually you get to an age where that's going to hit you. It's going to sit on you. It's going to weigh on you. And it starts to kill your soul. You start not being happy. You start not enjoying things. And there came a time in my life to where I just understood that I had to make a change within myself, and I had to find something that could make me feel better about the things that I didn't feel too good about myself. And some of that has to do just with social oppression. People just looking at me for what they see, and not understanding everything that made me that, or just understanding everything that I've been through. So I guess you could say it just it's like I say, you see you in people from time to time. I have sons and I have a daughter, but sometimes not even in your own kids, you just see behaviors that you had when you're grown, and you know certain things that are drawing people to certain ways. And what I can do for being a gang member and being a person that was really in the streets, what I can do is I can look at a kid and I can tell just by their behavior, their mannerisms, if they need my help on some gang stuff. But more than anything, I can tell if they need my help on some understanding what they're going through. So I guess the only way to answer your question is to say that I'm just doing what God wants me to do. You know, there comes a time in your life where you got to answer to him. There's going to be a dark time in your life where you sit down and everything is going to be on your mind, and he's going to help you navigate through that. And sometimes when you're in turmoil, you look for God in the wrong reasons. But when you finally let go of those demons and you start really looking at what you want to be and where you want to go and what you want people to remember you as, it all comes down to self. I just want to use what I've been through to help somebody understand that there are people that's been through that, because a lot of times kids are held as kids. So adults never think they can comprehend, but we do know there's intelligent children these days, especially that pay attention. So when you ignore them, they feel like you don't care or you don't believe in what they have to say. So they wander in life and they find themselves in the wrong crowds because they wander and find love in all the wrong places. I was one of those kids. So I guess it comes down to I have a common ground with them. I know those pains, and I can also show them where I've been and what it took me to heal those mental scars. You know, emotionally, those may never heal, but for now, I have them healed as best as they can. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. You've been in any kind of struggle, and you've been in that struggle for a long time, even if you don't even call it a struggle. If you've been in the military, if you've been trained a certain way, you'll have vices your whole life. These are things you'll wake up with. If you were on drugs, just because you haven't done drugs in 30 years doesn't mean that today could be the day that you won't do drugs. So what I'm trying to teach them is for the rest of their life, me and the people associated with my program will be here for those times when they feel like they need somebody to help them stop from going back to what they're used to or what they're comfortable with. So what I'm trying to do is give the community a different look. And I'm also trying to stop this. We have to start policing our own community. We see what's happening on TV. And the fact, as a Black community and as a community of Americans, that we're okay and allowing what's going on between bad police and good police and bad citizens and good citizens isn't the problem. The problem is that we're not policing our communities to stop that stuff from happening. And that starts with the parents, helping the parents get the help they need, and also being the uncles and aunties and the grandmas of that kid when you know, even though that ain't your grandbaby, you need to build those rapports. That's how your community will stay safe and everybody will start embracing it. When that start happening, then our culture as African Americans will change. The rap music will change. The women will change. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I guess that's.
Oh no, I want you to. So my question is this, and one is, do you believe that the program that you are starting here would have been effective on your younger self? And we'll get into the curriculum here in a little bit, but do you think it would have been effective to your 20-year-old self, your 18-year-old self, your 15-year-old self?
Yeah, for these reasons. My program differs from most. It's active gang members. And let me defranchise the negative from that. That active, what I mean is I tried to make everything fight the taboo. So active gang member means actively changing their life. But they're members of gangs. So me, I'm kind of straightforward. This is what it is. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's not hide it. So I'll just give you an example. The other day, I was talking to my CCO. He came to my house and he was asking me, like, what have you been doing? And I'm like, well, I'm the new director of a gang prevention that I've been, putting together along the way. And it's finally in movement. And he was like, well, what does that partake with? I'm like, well, active gang members. He's like, whoa, active gang members. I said, listen, I'm not really worried about if you're looking at it as a police defined definition, but that's what I'm trying to separate from all of this. My program is connected to other programs that also use active gang members for these kids, because what differs from most is that these kids, even though you may think they don't, whether you were in a gang a long time ago or you're in a gang right now, anybody who was popping as a gang member, whether you were a D-boy, whether you're a shooter, whether all the females like you, those names stay relevant. And these kids grow up idolizing these names. So what happens is they follow suit. So as long as you have a name of standard, because I'm going to tell you, and anybody that has kids knows this, kids trust, once you break it, it's a wrap.
Right.
So we're dealing with trauma individuals. So when you're dealing with the traumatized individual, you cannot, it's not a lure. We're not luring kids in. We're being honest with them. Listen, you can continue to do what you want. We hope you don't, but won't you come in here and let us show you what we got for you and at least give us the chance, because I believe any kid that gives us a chance, I can promise you will continue to be in this program lifelong, because anybody who wants to make a stamp on the future should understand that the kids are the future. And eventually, I never got a chance to get to this part, but we'll bring these kids in this program from certain ages. They'll go through the curriculum. Eventually, I will have outside contractors, which I have friends that have like clothing lines and they have moving truck companies. And what I will do is I will bring them in. They're also a part of the program. They're facilitators, and they will come in along these kids' journey, and they'll learn bits and pieces depending on what age demographics they are will determine how far and what they can learn at that age. But as they go, and when we pick them up young, we'll find out if they like art, if they're into music, if they want to work with their hands. We'll find out their likes. We'll talk to them. We'll allow them to open up and tell us everything about them, you know? And then we'll find their strong suits. And what we'll do for the rest of that time that they're involved in the program, all we're trying to do is help them navigate the hard times in their life and only bring out the best in them and take their strong points and help them build on those. And eventually this program will help them get jobs so that eventually in their life, whether it's their parents that aren't in their life, or maybe they don't know their parents, maybe they're just by themselves, but eventually this program will show them they have a family based through the community and everybody involved.
So there's a question in the chat, and they want to know, what ages of children do you help? Who's this targeted?
Right now, I'm telling the police, I've told the secretaries at the courthouse, any age that needs our help, I won't turn any youth down, because I believe it's like taking them to church. If there's a youth that's 9 and he's troubled, we're going to deal with him, because the curriculum isn't going to be gang based. We're going to break it down individually based, and whatever program fits them within the program, that's what we'll seek for them, because the program is based off gang prevention and intervention. But at the same time, we're not turning down any youth that could come into this program and find something that they like. They might find out that this is what they want to do when they grow up. So I don't believe there's any negative to this program, because all we want to do is help bring them through the door and help them with the specific issues that they need, as well as the adults.
All right. So we got another question here. Can you give us some details about the curriculum? And then a secondary question from me is, because I know you told me a little bit about it. Tell us a little bit about the curriculum and success stories from that curriculum.
Well, right now, I can't speak too much on the curriculum, because right now we're in the process of having that sent so we can break it down and we can learn the process. And I'm going to get facilitated, because like I told you when we were just talking, because of me becoming the director and me having a focus on this for years to get something like this in the city of Bremerton for the youth and the parents, and to try to change the look of the city and motivate the kids to be Marvin Williams, you know, somebody great from this city, instead of look towards the streets for who they think is great. So
without going into details about what's actually in the curriculum, give us some history. Like, where did this curriculum come from?
This curriculum was based Progress Pushers. Eddie Purpose in Seattle, who is a member of the Product Pushers and the Incredible Messenger. They created this curriculum over time based off of the science and I forgot the word, conjugative change programs and trainings. And what they do is the program breaks down 4 different curriculums.
Oh, sorry about that.
It breaks down 4 curriculums, and they go through different phases. And while they're going through these phases, we'll have workshops. And sometimes the workshops will be, we'll take them out somewhere, let them pick somewhere to go. Like, to tell you the truth, like, I had my own curriculum that was in the process of, I was putting together this whole time over a couple of years. But because, you know, you want to get this going, you don't want to prolong it. But the fact that the curriculum is coming from the Progress Pushers we haven't had a chance to get it yet until we're facilitated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we haven't got an outline of it, because this is just became into effect in the last 3 weeks. You know, over the time I've been coming this, I got with my Aunt Deborah. I told her what I was trying to do. And, you know, as a strong Black woman that she is, she gave me an opportunity to make a change, you know?
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're not stagnant and you don't believe in procrastination. It's like, this is what I want to do. Let's go. Let's get it done. So this project pushers.
Progress Pushers.
Progress Pushers. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat so people can see that. Do you have any?
Go ahead. My fault. I apologize.
Do you have any success stories that you can share about you know, some of the kids that they have impacted their lives just from what you've heard?
Can I send him a video?
He said, Miss Deborah said, can she send you a video so you can show?
Of course.
Yeah, it's short. What it is it's the kids in the program in Green Hill High School, which is a juvenile prison in the state of Washington, and they're telling you about the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tell her to send it to us. Yeah, that's great. You know, and the reason why, you know, I'm asking these questions is, you know, one, you definitely need to have a touch point from a subject matter expert, right? Someone who lives the life, that can speak the language and identify with the people that they're trying to help. And that definitely sounds like you. You know, while Deborah is sending that to us, you want to share a little bit about, you know, your story, how you got involved in gang life, and you just give us a little bit of your background there.
Well, I'm from Portland, Oregon, but you could pretty much say that I was just one of those kids that the street lights, you know, I was in awe of them since I was little. So, and my dad, you know, he did his thing in the streets. So as I was little, I just went that way towards the gangs and you know, back in the 80s, that's where the money was. That's pretty much how the culture got its boom right there in the industry of music and the front light. That's kind of, you know, rocking everything. But like in the streets, I seen the D-boys. So, I mean, that's what was around me. So as I grew up, like, I just aspired to be that. Like, I wanted to be the best gang member I could be. And I tried, you know, I mean, I did. And then.
Why did you want to be the best gang member?
My parents was on drugs. My home life wasn't right. I didn't have money. I didn't come from nothing. So it was kind of like, it's just a trauma. I guess it was the easiest escape to try to find something to hold on to at the time when you feel like there's nobody there. And at a young age like that, you know, when you're a young kid that young and you're in those type of situations, life makes you start basically boxing yourself in, because you start questioning yourself, because as a little kid, you don't understand. So you question, is it because they don't love you? Is you don't understand. So sometimes that turns into like a hate. It turns into, you know, a baby, as soon as they get hurt, their natural instinct is to put their hands up to be grabbed. But when you don't have that, you start looking at different people to give you that. And I mean, the streets is what it did for me. And eventually in time, like, you know, you're going to juvenile over and over again. It doesn't scare. Then you're dealing with these people, and eventually these people, it's a cycle. So you go through juvenile, and all they're doing is waiting for you to build yourself up so they can say, well, look how many chances we gave him. It's time to sit him down. And you sit down for these stretches. And, you know, I'm not going to get into my beliefs on the system, because that's really not what I'm here for. But I will say this. The one thing that I did learn as a young Black man going to prison is the one, at a time when I didn't care for myself, they kind of saved me, because I was living to try to get myself killed anyway, you know. And you're a gang member, getting smoked by the op is an honor. You know, at the end of the day, that's what you in it for. You either trying to knock them off or they trying to knock you off. You don't want to get hit by a car because that ain't what a gang member consider honorable. So you also have to think of the psychologies that these kids are raising themselves with. They're not praying to God. They trying to get one of these chains. They trying to get the new Jordans. And at the end of the day, they trying to get put on the wall.
Wow.
So when you live that life in these, and part of my language for saying it, but when these white people get you in this system because you don't see much of your color there, they lie to you because they say, have you been coerced to take any statements, any pleas? And we say no. But in reality, we have, because we don't speak law language. We just speak broke in the hood language, which doesn't translate. I don't understand what you're saying. I do not have the money that you're talking to get you to talk the right language for me. So we're already in a corner. You feel me? And I found out that, you know, I learned that late in my life after 24 years were taken from me.
How old were you when you got into gang life?
I was about 11 years old.
Wow.
But I mean, to be honest, since I was about 5, I wanted to be a member of the Crips. I was just too young to be a member. So I
From
just
5.
Yeah.
How are you exposed to that lifestyle at 5 years old?
My dad was in the streets, and I grew up in Portland, Oregon, where that's what everything was in the 80s. It was gang life.
Wow. So from 5, that's what you're aspiring to, and we're going to aspire to what we have around us, right? Is that an accurate statement?
Guaranteed. It's like putting a basketball in the kid's hand. He's going to be Jordan. But if you put a flag and a color in his hand and you give him a gun, he's going to be Jordan in that form and fashion.
Well, that's interesting because you said you wanted to be the best gang member, right? That you could be.
Yeah, I wanted to be Michael Jordan like every other gang member. I wanted to be number 23 when I was behind the gun or when I was behind my knuckles. And that, I mean, I believe, you know, this, you look at it as a lifestyle, but I'm speaking on the terms of people that are really from that life. That's really what you're living. That ain't nothing that the shoes that you wear doesn't make you. That's just like if you differentiate the kids that accidentally shoot people because they think they're gang members than the kids that are out there trying to kill somebody because they're gang members. You have to look at these things because they all play a part in which way you should deal with them. Gotcha. And at 17, my parents didn't have no money. You can tell my parents anything. My parents is looking like they about to take my baby. That's all they understand. They don't comprehend anything else besides that. And neither did I. You know, all I looked at was like, here they go again. Because I've already did this. Like you've put me in jail so many times as a kid that now as an adult, this is exactly why I'm glad that Miss Deborah gave me the chance to have this platform. I'm blessed, to be honest, because they say you got to do God's work. And right now, I can tell you from the life that I used to live to the life that I'm living now, God is good.
Yes, he is.
God is good. And anybody that sat behind them fences knows why. Because right now, there's a person that can't do what he wants to do. He wants for the world to know that he wants to help. But because of a situation, he's sitting behind a wall and he's going to die behind there. I also do this to show the world that tends to not want to give people like me a chance, that you should, because people like me can help the world be better, because people like me can relate to those people that you're trying to put behind that fence and make worse now. Not saying that everybody shouldn't be locked up, not saying that you should go sit down when you do something wrong if it's for the right reasons, but we need to start looking at these facts. How long do you need to sit down before it becomes a negative? And how old should you be before you look at me as an adult? Because 17, now that I'm a grown man, I can tell you I wasn't a man. I was a wounded child. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I like what was it? Just Mercy. Just Mercy could probably describe that 24 years of my time to you. Just Mercy. I cried when I watched that movie, sitting in the penitentiary, because I'm gonna tell you something. It's hard to bounce back from anything that these people incarcerate you for this reason. Everybody finds it easy to find that. Just in life, let's just separate the penitentiary. Just in life, when you're doing great things, people tend to only look at everything bad you did. They try to blind everybody to the great things you did. Nobody knows that I ran AAU track and I was a track star. Nobody knows that I played football. Nobody knows when I was a little kid, I used to walk a blind white boy to school. Their name was Joseph. Nobody would know those things from me because nobody ever got a chance in that system to know about me. I'm just another little black boy that they've seen a million times, and he needs to be locked away. As our president said, those predators were who he was talking about. So everybody that voted has to understand the people that they vote for. Yeah, you might get cheaper taxes on your house, but what happens when your son is behind that cage and you're not understanding why you can't bring him home? Like, the facts are, as black men, I'm trying to change the label. A deadbeat dad. I got 3 kids, and 2 of them are my step, but you might as well say they're mine. I clothe them, I feed them, I do everything that I can in my life to make sure those kids live a kid's life because I wasn't able to. So let's go the next step. Let's kill the deadbeat dad from the African American standpoint, because I can tell you, since I've had a child, my respect for a single father or a father that's in their child's life, no matter what color they are, skyrocketed, because I know it's hard just being a parent, but I understand this. It's hard being a black man and being a parent because the world's already painted a picture of us that is so ugly.
So you're looking to change that as part of the Men of Motivation program.
Yeah, for this reason. We're not taught about how great we are. How can a young white kid look up to a black man if he never knows the real culture and history behind him? If he only knows that the Greeks were great and he says, well, my ancestries were great, I don't rub shoulders with people that weren't, he'll never have an African American friend. But you got to understand, there's kids that wear Jordans and never seen him play one game. So do you think that they know King Tut in Egypt is in Africa? Because the white people have made us believe Egyptians are light-skinned Arabs. They have no African descent in them. So our greatness has been stolen from us. We've allowed ourselves to lose identity. And what they've took from us is they've took people wanting to get to know our culture, wanting to be a part of our identity and love our identity. Because to them, we don't have none. We just some cats that were stolen and put on a boat. That's our history in America. But they're changing it every day. Like, there's a lot of reasons why I do what I do, because as a young man, I was blind, man. And to be honest with you, people like you, I believe, are a beautiful thing. And brothers like him watching, learning knowledge and wanting to find knowledge and wanting to know how we can change this. This is what our community is. This is what a black man is to me. So I'm trying to save these kids so they don't go to prison and have to stab another brother under the politics that they living on to survive.
Man, well, I'm hoping that you and I can have ongoing conversations, because I think it's really important for folks to understand, right? They see the product of society, right? They see the gang, they see the violence, they see the drugs, they see the dysfunction, but you really do need to have an understanding of how a person gets to make these choices and then get stuck on those choices once they made those choices, right? So hearing this is what you aspired to be at 5, most kids are like, oh, I want to be a doctor or a race car driver, right? I mean, they're kids, right? And you're like, I want to be a gang member. That's alarming to hear. And then to have that, be a self-fulfilling prophecy based on, idolizing, it sounds like, your father and following in those footsteps, and then losing all that time. So you said you were down for 24. Was that 24 straight years, or is that kind of in and out from 17 to 41?
I was locked up. I just got out in 2021. Yeah, I got out in 2021. I was locked up from the time I was 17 to the time that I was 41.
Oh, man. First off, welcome home.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a long time to be down. When during your time did you make this change in your life? Because I'm sure people know there's gangs on the inside, and that becomes a matter of survival in many cases, right? So how did you break away and have this mindset?
See, well, I'm gonna make it quick. Let me tell you about the penitentiary.
Sure.
To be an active gang member and be on the yards, you can't be brief. That's snitching.
Mm-hmm.
That's telling you don't do that. So, I survived it the only way I knew how, as a gang member. And this is what I mean by this. I never debriefed. I changed myself because I didn't like myself. And in changing myself, I found it in my heart that I wanted to do everything I can to help anybody in the situation that I was in not do that time in prison or not go through the things that I've been through in my life for a lack of love and understanding. Because I joined the gang. I aspired to be that, but I still had this hate because there was something that happened with me and my dad. My dad went to work one day, and he may be mad at me for putting his businesses, but I'm gonna keep it funky with the people. My dad went to work one day and he didn't come back for years. You know, he was going through his own demons. I was young, I couldn't understand that. So not only did I want to be a gang member, but I wanted to be a gang member, and I wanted to be opposite of what he liked. You know, so I mean, most of my life it wasn't even the person I was on. Really, my dad's head was on somebody's neck because I was trying to knock that off because I was a wounded child. And I mean, now, believe me, I'm a private person. I ain't the type of person to even speak my business. But at the end of the day, I understand that things like this are needed so that somebody else going through the things that I've been through or might be going through them right now can understand that I've been through them. I know what it feels like to not have a father figure. First of all, I know what it feels like to look to a black man as a black Superman when you're little. But I also know the feeling to watch him take the cape off and walk through the door and never come back. But he's been in my life since then. And what I'm going to tell you is the life that me and my father have today, I'll go through everything that we've been through for what I have with him today. You know, my mom died the day before Thanksgiving. I was locked up 24 years. I was out 10 months. My mom passed away day before Thanksgiving, this 2021. I had to kiss her on the forehead with blue lips while she died in her house. You know, and that's a whole nother trauma due to the fact of the things that proceeded in that incident and how it was handled and how the police were 11 deep and 5 cars in front of my mom's house causing traffic to look through the door while they're trying to get her to breathe again. There's a lot of things going on in this community that need to be changed. And like let's just be honest, man. It's hard to be black, man, but it's hard to be black and motivated to do positive things because when you do these positive things in our community, they try to find everything negative about you to make people not understand the message. You get what I'm saying?
I'm a witness of that.
Like even people that haven't been incarcerated, and I hate to say it's a race thing, but I'm gonna be honest. The things that happen in this community do seem a little biased and it seems overlaced, but we're working on that. We're talking to the commissioner. We're talking to the director of human sources. These are things that I've done so far that I don't think have been done. And we also are going to be bringing in active gang members from Tacoma and Seattle and Spokane all across the state. And we'll be working with gang members, changing their life in the penitentiary that can mentor kids through the program and listen to the kids and correspond with them when they have ideas about things. And just like our fellow program that's helping us with the curriculum, I believe that at the end of the year, when they graduate from our program, we'll be joining their graduations so that they can walk and they'll be able to go through the program and break up in groups and talk about politics and things that are going on in the world that they don't like, that they don't think people listen to them about. And when they graduate, they'll be able to talk to congressmen in Olympia and tell them their arguments and what their views on in their communities are, and maybe get the gap between the community and the council to be able to just bridge the gap of all the negativity and find a way to find the positive to change the community for a better.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot wrong with the prison industrial complex, but one of the big ones is, it's supposed to be a place where people can gain skills and come out and have opportunities, and it's just the opposite. So, folks will come out and now they're a pariah to society. They can't integrate back into society. And so what choice do they have, right? And there's not a lot of support there. We've got someone in the chat that says gangs were implemented into the community after slavery to keep divisiveness in Black communities. All leaders were taken. MLK, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, taken. All gangs stayed by government design. He also says we should have a discussion on the racist Kitsap County Commissioner caucus straight shitting on good Black people in courtrooms. So, definitely want to have these conversations. And, I appreciate your participation in the chat there, Brandon. Keep it up. let me go ahead and give you a chance to take a sip of water. I'm going to play this video here. I think that's important. Brother Raymond, if you're there, if you have a comment or a question for Brother Anton, you can go ahead and ask that after I play this video.
This is who we have partnered with.
This is who we're partnered with this program, who we'll be partnering with throughout our program and joining their program in Seattle, Federal Way, and Tacoma.
Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and cue that up here so we have that. Definitely a lot of work to do in this space, for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and listen.
This is Eddie Purpose.
Society at large has given up on this youth population, unfortunately, and we know that it's us who can be the ones to actually breathe that life. And as we see, you know, these guys, they understand that greatness. They got the greatness. They just take somebody else to see it, believe it, and pull it out.
Them being from the same area, the same things that I went through, it just kind of just makes me realize like I ain't alone and stuff.
It helps, you know. It shows like you can trust them, you know, and you can talk to them. You have someone to talk to. They know how it is. They've been locked up. They've been like where we are in our shoes. You know?
I said I see people that are in the same position as me, that were in the same position as me, that are now successful, and it's good to see that.
They've been in our shoes before, you know, so they know we've been, you know, they know what we dealt with, you know, stuff like that. They've lived what we lived.
I had to be deterred first. That's my personal experience. I had to be deterred first and have somebody reach out to me and breathe life into my life in order to even awaken this different thought of wanting to do more for somebody else. But first, you know, like they say, you got to go through it in order to get to it.
First couple of weeks or something, for me, I just kind of stayed to myself. And then, like, as I got more comfortable, and, I just started opening up. It helps a lot, to be honest. Sometimes it's not good to hold in things. So for me to just be able to bring it out and share with other people, this group is real. If you coming from the streets or struggle, whatever it is that you've been through, this is the group you want to be in.
It's a group that people need to go to. You know, it's something that can maybe be a life changer for them.
The hope with the program is to continue to expand in different facilities. All the facilities, juvenile facilities here in Washington State. That bond is there and it's genuine. We're not just here just to get a paycheck or go through the motions. No, this is genuine love and concern.
Yes,
I think,
yes.
again, society at large, the judicial system, the penal system, they don't operate out of that love and true concern. And that's the difference that we bring.
All right. So, you know, I think that's a powerful piece there that goes to articulate not only is, you know, this needed and so tremendously important, but there's already a blueprint for this and there's already a success. I love the fact that, you know, they had the kids talking, right? And I'm watching that and I'm seeing the, you know, their own insecurities and kind of public speaking and how young they were, right? Listening to your story of being 5, and it's like, you know, I mean, these are kids, you know what I mean? And they're at a precipice in their life where they can go down one direction or go down another, and their lives will be fundamentally changed forever. Man, I love what you're trying to do there. I'm gonna go ahead and give that and give you one as well. Go ahead.
What I'm gonna say, let me share a little quick story. Like Eddie Purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were incarcerated together. Like when he came to prison, he was 18 years old. Like I told you, when I was 5, I wanted to be the hardest gang member. So when I first went to prison, I was the one that was going to be I was going to be in all the bullshit. I'm trying to fight, start riots. Well, when he first met me, you know, it was kind of that type of exchange. Oh, you okay? This is what's going on. He was looking at me like, God damn, you know, this is rough for a first experience. Now, the flip side is I was his mentor as a gang member, right?
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of that is the reason why I found my passion is because on the end of that friendship, he mentored me, and I watched him be humble as the young boy that came through that door that grew over these years, 12, 15 years with me. I watched him grow into a man from 18 years old. I basically raised him. You know, he was my protege. But later in our life, in that same friendship, he showed me a better way.
Mm.
And, you know, I used to come from prison and I used to tell him, like, man, you really motivate me, because he's a young black man that's doing something great for our community. And he's trying to bring us all together, and he's for helping. And this is another thing I want to say. As black people, let's stop sabotaging each other or trying to steal each other's stuff.
Yeah.
And let's just come together and just get our nation back. Let's make us great again. You know, let's make us great again. And it comes from this. Without you, I won't have no platform to express and share views and find better thoughts, because sometimes in situations like this, people say things and they cross your mind, and it helps you with something that you just couldn't find in your mind at that time, with something that you're trying to create. So what I'm saying is, my program, it's lifelong, and anybody that comes in and has a great idea will become a part of it. I really want to be sincere to the community, but I just really want to see the youth as well as the adults become better, meaning we need to become better people to become a better world. And we need to stop holding blinders to the hate and all the stuff we know ain't right. We need to speak on it. We need to use these platforms, and we don't need to use them to hate. We need to use these platforms to motivate, to stop the hate and make people do the right things, and even call people your friends. Like I do it all the time. Hey man, that ain't right. Just stop. You know, we need to call each other, and we need to hold each other accountable and responsible. I'm holding myself responsible for everything and every wrong that I did in my life, by giving back to the community, by helping, by using what I've done and what I know in that lifestyle to help these kids not hit their head on every wall like I did.
No, absolutely. Now, Brother Raymond, did you, after I was playing that video there, do you have a question or a comment for Anton? Hold on, I muted you there. Let me unmute you there. You were kind of moving your chair back there, so I put you on mute. Go ahead there.
Okay, Anton, how you doing, good brother?
I'm doing great, man. I'm here with you, man. We doing something.
God
great.
is good. That's right. That's right. I have a few questions. Some of the challenges that you must go through with changing the lifestyles of the individuals, like the young youth, the brothers, like going from a lifestyle of gang related to into society. It's just a whole different. It's a whole different life. How do you approach the individuals who just doesn't understand how to get out of that situation that is no longer, I should say, worthy, or not no longer um, a self-help or something of a survival skill, from that gang life to society life, to getting a 9 to 5, going to school, get your life together? And the second question is, what's the rewards? Because in the streets, there's always instant rewards. So even if it's wrong, it's a reward behind it. There's something that pushes them through. How do you approach those kind of reward factors of just hard work?
I'm gonna go ahead and help you to go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and do Thaddeus, that you mentored him?
Oh,
Yeah, use him as an example, how you brought him out and approached him and where he is today, where he came from.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know exactly what you're asking me, and I don't want to just answer it and it's not exactly what you're looking for.
Sure.
Can you just simplify for me? Just tell me what you're
I'll try to
looking for.
simplify it. Individuals, like kids coming out of the streets, coming out of gangs. Inside of a gang system, there's rewards. Whatever they do, there's an instant reward. Selling, their lifestyle. We, like you said earlier, you used to see the street lights. And you was addicted to that street light. You wanted to go out there. You wanted to do whatever it was that there had to be done in the streets, the fun, hanging out with the guys. But when we change that lifestyle, it becomes a little more boring. You don't have that gratification of the streets. You become a homebody. You become boring. And so what I'm saying is, how do you keep that zeal or that energy going forward when somebody just like they keep looking at the lights? Right.
And to keep with the drive to motivate the kids and get them out of it?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
the reward is this, man. Like, it's just like when you look at your baby, man, and see the kids have a sincere smile and to feel like you can help them find a way to find the great them. Like, my reward in it is, you got to also understand, like, I ain't gonna lie to you, like sitting on the couch watching TV, that's new to me. So like the things that, like, for my life and for their life, you got to look at it like this. I aspire to be a gang member. So watching TV and cartoons and playing with toys really wasn't nothing for it. So I guess my joy is helping them find, because a lot of us, it's like you said, you grow up in the streets, you don't have nothing, you want gold chains. So you do the things that come with that lifestyle to get it. And then like I guess you have to teach them this. The reward comes in keeping them free and explaining to them that I don't want you to go do or deal and endure the things that I had to do, endure in prison. Because when you go to prison as a juvenile, they don't send you to the nice prisons. You don't go to the most calm, lowest custody. You go to the most violent, active yard. So just think about that concept. At 18, you're going to a yard where it's, to be honest, and excuse my language, it's fight or fuck. Either you're going to put on a wig or you're going to be able to handle your own. And if you don't, you in a lion's den that's going to just keep coming. So we're putting them in a bad situation. So every time I see a kid that at least acknowledges the message, I know that's a kid that I could reach, because every day I'm going to make it my point to see him and let him know that I'm there for him. And eventually, it's just like that little kid said on the video. Eventually, he's going to want to express it. He's going to want to play a part in it. All I'm doing is building a platform for him. We're basically just building a platform for these kids to be great. And we're doing everything that we can to attack all the sections in their life that they need help with, whether it's emotionally, whether it's physically, whether it's just the fact that they need somebody to show up at their football games. In the near future, we'll be there. We'll be there. If their parents don't have the vehicles, we'll find a way to get them there, because I ran AAU sports and I was good. I have gold medals in the Jesse Owens meet in West Seattle, 13, 14 years old. But when I looked up to the stands, my parents wasn't there. So it's, your motivations are different. Your drives start becoming hard. I wasn't motivated to want to be too much because my parents wasn't there. So what really could I be? Everybody else's parents was watching them. But my misunderstanding was my parents lacked the ability to get there. They didn't have the funds. They didn't have the things in their life to get them there. So now you're dealing with two different traumas. So I guess you could say, you have to say the reward is any child that I can stop doing. If me talking to them just for those couple minutes stops them from doing something that could get them behind a door, then I'm going to be there every day.
That's that was a good question, Raymond. I was actually just talking about that the other day, and with a few different folks under various scenarios, right? It's not even necessarily gang life. It's trying to show people that there's another way. And I think, capitalism, materialism are two of the biggest poisons that infect our communities, right? Like you said, you want the J's, you want the gold, right? You're trying to, show out, for the ladies. And so those things become important, and that becomes the value. And so what Raymond is saying is really powerful. It's like, how do you do the boring thing and value that? It's like, hey, I'm not going to McDonald's and flipping burgers. It's going to take me forever to get that. And so, changing that mindset where you have been down for 24 years, and my brother did quite a few years in between, going in and coming out in their smartphones, like what's happening, it's like George Jetson for him. And obviously you probably had that same scenario being down that long for, consecutively. But it is hard to say, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to get rich doing this. And as Raymond was saying, hey, I can go out here and flip this really quick, and I got a stack of cash, and it's fast. I'm not punching the clock, and someone younger than me is going to be telling me what to do, and this, that, and the other. So that mindset and changing that value system sounds like a real challenge there.
It is. In some, are you speaking to me or are you speaking to Raymond?
No. It's open, but definitely
it's open.
I don't think that it is. It's kind of easy. Kids let's just keep it real. Like the population of kids that want to be gang members now, they want to be gang members because of the music. They ain't gang members because of the street that they live on or they're doing bad. You know what I'm saying? We're wearing one of those things like this. It can go either way. Either you want them to stay in skinny jeans and go that way and do that, or you want to try to figure out how to stop them from going back to the baggy and the Chuck Taylors. It's more of when you talk to these kids, like if you ask, like when you talk to these kids, like even if you go right now to neighborhoods and you're like, what's the beef? The beef is so simple. It's really about being able to show young men and women how to say sorry. You know, a lot, there probably wouldn't be gangs right now. And the way that society is, gangs wouldn't have lasted this long if somebody would have been able to show these kids that it's okay to say sorry when they're wrong. So it's about like I tell DOC, you asked me to take responsibility for everything I've done. Well, when you get to telling people about how bad I've been when I was in prison until a certain stage of my life changed, you have to take responsibility. At 17, you sent me to a jungle with lions. What was I going to do? Be a cat? I don't know how to be a cat. I was raised with lions. And you put me in another situation that you took me from. You took me from turmoil right into turmoil. And you made it look like you were helping me because let's be honest, there ain't no rehabilitation unless you take yourself to the library and you teach yourself the things that you need to know to get along in life. You know, you have to go get a trade. You could take an AA, but let me the penitentiary until the last 10 years ago, if you were given anything over 3 years, you couldn't go get education. You could only get a GED because they said you had too much time. So that in itself will tell you the system is not based to help the people that they give all this time to. So then the public is fooled because they vote for these people and these people convince them that you need this and you need this. And then we turn around and we keep seeing it. That you find out, like in 2013, the person who made Washington's SRA, which is the new guideline point system for time, came out in 2013 and said, I messed up. My son is locked up. And what I didn't take into consideration is if you give somebody 20 years, they change within that 10-year frame. Well, he didn't write that into the system. So when you come in with 20 at 17, you get out high violent like you were still 17 because they don't change it. It stays the same. The system wasn't created to help you do better. It's only created to help you do worse. And this is the thing. I was lucky enough that I got tired of not caring about myself and not loving myself and not loving the people in my family that cared about me and not doing the right things, that I started investigating. I started going to the library. I started teaching myself. I started watching C-SPAN. I started watching all these different platforms of things to make me hip to what I wasn't seeing. And when I did that, it opened my eyes to how blind I allowed myself to the world. Even with my hurts and my pains, I still allowed the world to keep me blind because we tend to do this as a people because it's what we know. We tend to just fold and pout about all the bad things that happen to us instead of get up and say, you know what? It happened. Let's get over that and get back to it. That's why we haven't rebounded since slavery. We haven't rebounded because we're too busy trying to get people to acknowledge what they did to us instead of for us to acknowledge what they did to us and start doing things different. We're the only culture that everything's been stolen for and we still broke. Like this goes back to college. Who created the first college? Egypt. Alexander the Great stole it. These are things I never would have knew if I wouldn't have got with an older black brothers that were good brothers that knew, hey, I ain't gonna make it, young brother. I got life. But what I can do is guide you and give you the knowledge to go seek. So when you do see it, you understand what you're dealing with, such as brothers that's been in Mississippi during the time when they sick dogs on them and hit them with hose. This is what makes me want to save the youth. I was a youth that luckily had a couple good black brothers in the prison system that didn't allow me just to run wild. They got on me like my uncle. They disciplined me and told me, boy, don't do that. And what it did is it made me, as I got older, not turn my back on the youth. As black men, we tend to do this. If I don't relate to you, I'm not going to mess with you. So what we've done is we've turned our own back on our babies because we've lost touch with the style and we feel like, man, I ain't with the skinny jeans. I ain't with nobody wearing skinny jeans. we've really closed ourselves out like we've continued to do. And it's a trick bag because they help us close ourselves out because they pin us against us. But this is the thing. If every community, the whites, everybody come together to save their youth, you can't hold no community back. No community can complain because we will start doing what we used to do. We will start running and owning our own communities.
So Raymond, ask your second question there, Raymond, and then Deborah, I would like you to ask Anton a question or two. I know that this is a family member, and you are in a position which is really powerful to allow him to express himself and to seek out his mission and execute that here in the community. Well, what questions can you pose to Anton? In a thoughtful manner. So I'm gonna give you a second to think about that. Raymond, what was your other question for Anton there?
Anton, my second question, I was born in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, and from there moved to Brooklyn, New York. And in Brooklyn, New York, you know, the guys who join the gangs don't really join the gangs for the music. They join the gangs for survival. And I'm trying to see what's the motivation of a person who's basically in a gang because of survival and no other way. Is this a program that somebody volunteers, like it'll be somebody who will volunteer and they want change, or is that hitting the hard gangsters who's actually been in there for there's gangsters where family members has been the gangster members and it goes down to the child. By the time he's 8, 9, 10 years old, he's already a member, already sworn in. And these guys are hard and seasoned. Um, and that's in the big cities, there are some gang members who are just, you know, that's the only way they know. And are we trying to pull them out, or are we just getting volunteers who wants to get a better life and wants to just change out of there?
I mean, we're doing both. I mean, we're doing both because I think there are juveniles out there that are in trouble and they've been in jail, and there are people that need to be referred. But this is the thing. I'm out there every day. I go to where they frequent. I go and I talk to them for hours. I sit with them. I tell them about myself. I tell them about my life. I tell them about losing my mom. You know, that was another major thing. Not too long ago, nobody ever put me off of a gang. Nobody ever told me I couldn't be from my gang. I recently called where I'm from and I told them I'm no longer from there. You know, never have I had to say that, but just so there wasn't no misinterpretations and nobody had a misunderstanding of where I was in my life. You know, so, and I mean, I think that's what difference about my program. Like those questions are hard to answer because it's like an individual basis and it all depends on, you gotta understand, you could be a 50-year-old gang member and a 10-year-old could do one thing and that could be the light that hits you and you be like, this is just not it. I'm 50 years old. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. There's things. So along this way, let's say there's people who volunteer or people who are sent to us. We're going to find out exactly what it is that we can do and what they need in their life to bring them out of it. And sometimes you may have somebody that is not a gang member, they're not nothing, but they've never been putting off that gang. You got to understand that in some communities, in some places, that's life threatening. And this is the thing that we keep doing is like, even in prison, you have to debrief. So if I'm 18 and I come to prison and say, I don't want to be a gang member no more, what they're going to ask me is, what information can you tell us? What do you know about this gang? You're going to do all this stuff at 18 to get away from this gang file in prison. And then what happens is now you're detached another negative. And just think of it. You're telling me you want to help me get out of a gang. So I tell you what you want, but yet you attach this title to me. So now you endanger my life on another sense. These are the same people that are supposed to be protecting you. And when you're a juvenile, as I was, if you are looking up to people, and let's say there's people who go to prison because they were with these gang members, they were in the car, you go get the same time now these days. There's people that go with you, and what happens is they might not want to go over there to that pull-up bar and do pull-ups and everything with this gang, but they have no choice. So what you're dealing is a system that's creating a statistic. They're creating these gang members. So you have to deal with them like that. You have to deal sometimes. Everybody doesn't have a choice. You can say everybody has a choice, but let's be honest here. Some people have a choice, but they don't have the right tools or the amount of money that it takes to make that choice. They don't have the parent to help them know that there's a choice. They're just stuck in the situation. And I mean, to round it up, we're trying to help the youth, and anybody that is associated with a gang that wants to help, we're taking it. And any kid that's from a gang or just has some hurts and pains in their life, we're dealing with the troubled youth, and the troubled youth may be considered gangs. You also got to deal with that statistic. Some runaways have been labeled gang members because they're in the crowd, but this is a big problem in America. We have runaway juveniles in large cities, little girls. Basically, you do everything. What does anybody do? What does a young girl do when she's hurt or she was molested or she was raped? You tend to have a lot of prostitutes. And these are things that we run from and we don't speak about. But you do the same thing for her that you do for a young gang member that went there. You find a way to show that there's different ways to be loved and a different way to love these young girls. Let's be honest. I've been in the street. Gang members attract certain type of females, and what happens is victims create victims. This is a big thing, and the message that I try to share. You can't really fault a victim for creating a victim if you never gave them a way to help themselves or never showed them that there was a way to help themselves. This isn't anything, not just sex crimes and any kind of crime. And what's taken away from the help is that you committed a crime. So I guess my answer, to answer the best way that I can for you, Raymond, is to say that you deal with these, you use you as a vessel. How did Raymond change? If Raymond didn't change, what people does he know that went through that life? You use your life experience. The best way I could tell you to deal with a troubled youth is to share your life experience, even if it isn't through trouble. Share your life experience about what made you do the right things. Have that conversation. If you are walking down the street and you see a little kid that don't look right, and I see this all the time, you'll be driving down the street, going somewhere, you'll see a little, maybe 9, 10-year-old kid walking down a busy street in the rain with some flip-flops. Stop and have a conversation with that kid, first of all, to see if he needs some help. You know,
the police sure stop
because they're not stopping. So, I mean, it all goes in the thing. I guess we just have to come to the vacant understanding that your grandma taught you, your nana taught you, because you're from Brooklyn, so you probably say nana like I do. But what we know is this: do what your nana taught you, man. Just treat people with love, embrace them with love, and you'll reach them. I promise you, as long as you're sincere, kids decipher sincere from a threat quick. So all I can do is, I'm just being human, man. I got to a point in my life where I know that you can do a lot more with love than you can with hate. Most of my life I messed up because I was hateful. So, I mean, the best way to reach anybody in trauma, whether it's a grown man, grown woman, a little girl, or a little boy, is just to love them.
You know, I like that answer there. Ms. Deborah, what questions do you have?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What questions do you have for Anton?
He was saying, and then why I built Survive and Change, eliminating self-perceived limitations, and that's our motto. Being a victim of the system, the foster care system, molested, my mother marrying a molester, selling drugs, you know, always being in that survival mode. And sharing my life story of how I got out and what made me change my mind so that we didn't repeat the cycle. I had to find out and learn how to love myself. And then I do have to say that I did have mentors, but they wasn't my people. You know what I'm saying? I had a school teacher, Mr. Wayne Dow. You know what I'm saying? I did have a police officer, Terry Wellings. You know, they knew what was in me. I did have Judge, oh my goodness, Kenneth Lewis. You know what I'm saying? And they weren't even my people. My people were too busy saying who I was, where she came from. I wasn't good enough to be in the NAACP. I couldn't belong to this Black organization because who my mama was. But they recognized things that was inside me. I went back to school and got 3 degrees in 3 years. I was an example for my children. My son's a deputy sheriff for 15 years. My daughter's a federal agent. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to, they saw what was in me, good, and knew something was going on, but they actually didn't know how to approach it, but they did the best that they could. And then I took that and left from here.
Excuse me.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, go ahead. And that's how I made change. And that's why I'm hard, because I know change can't happen. You know what I'm saying? He had to step out just for a minute.
Yeah, no worries.
He's going to the restroom. But I mean, that's what I did. Plus, I wanted to share. I don't think his question got answered all the way, Mr. Raymond, when he asked about the individual, what age group we're going to reach. Well, we're going to reach the small kid that was 5, Robert Lowe. I can mention him because he wants to come on. He was in the foster care system. His brother was one of the main gang bangers when they was, killing all those back in the days in the 90s here in Bremerton.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the foster care system. He was molested in the foster care system. His mother went to prison. I came back and got a lot of them graduated. You know what I'm saying? Telling my story, by me being from that life, I was able to relate and to reach them. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, addict knows an addict, hustler know hustlers. You know what I'm saying? And those individuals gravitate,
Mm-hmm.
and then attach themselves. Well, and that trust is there. Because like the young boy said in there, they've been where we've been. They know where we've
Right.
been, where we're trying to go. So that
Right.
trust is already there. Them as my people. No matter really what color you are, we help more white people than we do our people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they seem to latch on to us because we're more receiving and forgiving.
That's right.
Let me ask you that, Deborah. That's a powerful thing you said right there. Is why does it seem that other folks outside of Black people do resonate with what it is that we're trying to do, and kind of get that buy-in and get that success of changing their lives, where many of us are so. And I know some of that answer folks will say is post-traumatic slave syndrome and some other things, but why do you believe that it is so hard to engage our own and get them to see the value and create that value set and that mindset to do the other thing and not what they're doing?
I think,
That's an easy way out.
Juan, sometimes we can be our own worst enemies, and then the Willie Lynch syndrome, plays a factor in that. About coming up with that, to making us hate one another.
Mhm.
And then back on the other flip side, the other question I would say why those other people come to us, the other cultures come to us, especially the white culture, because they're looking for acceptance and validation.
In a lot of ways, isn't that what we're all looking for? Is acceptance?
Correct. Yes,
That's a life journey.
Yeah.
That's what life is.
I look up in here, we get many, many people from all kind of walks of life, but the people who share more of their emotional feelings is white people, our white clients, seriously, and share more of what's going on with their life and coming here for help. It's mostly them. Yes, we get a majority of our people, but we get a lot of them, that come in. And we don't see them as white. We see them as human beings, but they know they're receiving and loved here no matter how much, whatever rolls off my tongue, they end up telling me we love you. And they come back. Because they're accepted. They got validation. Mr. Raymond had a saying.
Go ahead, Raymond. Looks like your hand's up there.
Oh yeah, I'm fascinated, guys. Seriously, I'm intent because when me and Mr. Wine talk, I always have the notion that in order to get help, you have to go to ground zero. You have to be in there where the problem is, and that alone, I'm just so interested in just meeting up with you guys and seeing how we could exchange, how it can help. How it can help. I'm available, and I'm fascinated because that's what I do. I like that, and I applaud you guys for going out there and doing what you do.
And I mean, we got other things too. Like I got some contacts. I do music, so I mean that's another way that I reach them. A lot of times I'm out there, and that's how I reach these youth. They're in the music. I'm in the music. I do rap music. I do gangster rap music. But I also let them know, listen, when you hear me rapping gangster rap, I'm spitting history of my life. I mean, at this point in time in my life as an artist, I'm telling you my pain.
Mhm.
I'm giving you, you know, my music right now. I'm giving you me. I'm giving you pieces of me, my past, and you know, soon, you know, what I'm saying, I'm gonna give you. I'm as I go in life, I'm gonna give you a piece of everything of me. I just want you. A lot of artists got you. People don't really get to know no artists, so I'm just giving pieces of my life so a person can understand where I came from and where I'm headed. But I also let them know that it's music. You know, you got to separate music. I'm trying to be a millionaire one day in my life, in my music career. You know, I'm always going to help the youth, but I'm trying to just show them like it's fun and dandy. But most of the people that you're listening to, they just use that lifestyle because so many people seek the taboo in it. Like you got to think of this as an American. It's crazy when you can be in a million. You become a millionaire just for rapping about being a gangster, and then
Yeah,
you got to look at it like this: what would you expect the children in America to be, other than what the music that they're listening to? What would you expect the little black girls and the little white girls to follow? And what they see is, I mean, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? And these are just facts. This ain't nothing nobody doesn't know. But like, I mean, look at me. Do I look like your average gang prevention director that you would see? No, because nobody's able to just be them. Like I'm giving you me, just like I give it to them. And that's what is a beautiful thing about what we can do, because you can be you. Just think of this. There's a kid out there right now. I was sitting with a commissioner the other day, blew my mind. I was sitting in there like, this is crazy that this little poor child is sitting up here talking about helping the rest of these little poor children and the rest of these children that need help with somebody that might be able to do something if they're being sincere.
so let me ask you about that, Anton. You sat with Commissioner Charlotte Garrido. Who else was there?
The director of human resources.
The director of human resources of Kitsap County.
And so how did that conversation go? And do you feel like you were heard? Are they on board in supporting what it is that you do? Do they get it?
I mean, I look at it like this. I believe they want to be on board, but you know, like in what I'm finding, there's politics to this stuff.
For sure.
There's politics to this stuff. And I mean, I would hope that they want to be on board, because with the things and the pledges that they took, you would think that they couldn't do nothing but get on board. So, I mean, I would just say this. I'll challenge them. And I challenge anybody. I don't believe that the associates that we come with, I don't believe anybody gangs prevention is going to eventually in the future do what these gang preventions that we're connected to will do, because we're not just trying to save Bremerton. We're trying to save the youth, meaning we're going to have youth coming from Tacoma to the small city of Bremerton, because you also have to think this. There are kids that want to change their life, but due to the location of certain things, it's unsafe.
Yeah. Yep. That's 100% facts there, you know. And I would say, you know, even from a selfish standpoint, if you're like, you know what, I can't relate to this mission. This doesn't really make any sense to me. You know, it is a you problem, and it's a you problem because you can continue to try to lock people up and throw away the key, but eventually they get out. And if you don't give them another opportunity or another direction, or you don't make it to where that is not their their pathway in the first place, you're gonna have to deal with it. And we see, you know, right now, you know, we're still in COVID, but hopefully we're toward the end of it. But all during this time, there's been an uptick in violence and unrest, right? And as you find more people that are feeling like, hey man, I ain't got nothing to live for, no one cares about me, society, you know, views me as a throwaway, then you're gonna become, you know, a mark. You know, you're a soft target. And why the hell should I give a damn about you when you don't give a damn about me? So, you know, it is a survival thing. And so even from that standpoint, this is something that's got to be addressed. So I'm definitely 100% in support of this. What I would hope, Anton, as we wrap up for today, because we went over quite a bit, you know, as definitely a stimulating conversation, is that you would come on and have these conversations on a regular basis. You know, we were talking about, you know, why I created the conduit. And one of the big reasons for that is its name, right? It is two-way communication. This isn't just for me to sit here and talk to people, but it's for people to come in and talk to us. And one of the biggest issues that I see is those that don't have a voice, right? Not understanding, the 5-year-old child in you that wanted to be a gang member and be the best gang member and then become 17 and just kind of follow through with that and then have those experiences. And you're trying to dismantle and destroy that and give new opportunities, new direction, and new options to these children. What I would say too is, I hope this is a multi-generational type thing. We got babies having babies. And so when you think about, many of our young parents that are, just hitting their late 30s, very early 40s with, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that are following in their footsteps and they have the very same mindset. I think we have to address, both, the mom and the dad, maybe even the grandparent, the parent and the child, because they're so close in age. And that's what they know. And so they have to see something else. And I agree with another thing that you said is, we do need to tell our stories. And if they're going to have a different value set and a different mindset, then they have to be exposed to it, right? Because you're competing against social media, social engineering, and all the like, right? It's something that we don't have the commons and the KRS ones and all the conscious rap that gets elevated. But as long as we're talking about killing each other and nigga this and nigga that and my WAP and yada yada yada, then all of that can be pushed up to the forefront. So until and then that's for us. One of my mottos, you don't know, Anton, is power is taken, it's not given. Right. And someone was talking with me today because they wanted my favorite quote. And then they were trying to manipulate my quote to be a little bit softer. And I was like, no, I can't soften my words for you. Power is taken. It is not given. It is up to you to take power over your own life, to take the change that it is that you want to see. You can't wait on government. You can't wait on other people to do these things. You must do it yourself. And so I think that's a critical thing that we need to do. And so when people tell me, oh, why would you do this? That's probably not going to work out. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know if I would do that. I tell people I don't take L's, right? I either win or I learn. I don't lose, right? I don't lose because I'm going to learn. So that's the only option there, and that's how I feel about it. But I definitely want to give you a horn. And an applause. I'm gonna give you the last word, but before we do, I just want to make sure that we talk about all the upcoming events for Deborah because there's so many. So Deborah, I'm just gonna put this information up on the screen again. Go ahead and just talk about that.
Okay, but I still want to talk about our next show on Tuesday. We'll have one of the mentors that Anton has been mentoring, because we do also work with young men who have went in young and still got out young out of the prison system, how we are helping them transition. And so we want to have them on the show on next Tuesday.
All right. I love it.
At 5 o'clock, have them on. Moms is moving. We've been, Anton's doing a wonderful, hell of a job. So I just want to let that be known and be out there. But once again, we want everybody to come out to the Washington State African American Achievement Awards, held at Crossroads Neighborhood Church on January 19th, 2022. Where the doors will open at 6:15 p.m. You can purchase your tickets at the door, or you can go online, or Rashandra McGinnis has tickets, as well as Kendra Galloway. So we're looking forward. We want to let everyone also know on the 24th at Sinclair Missionary Baptist Church that we will be hosting a pop-up clinic, booster shots, first time shots, second time vaccine shot. We also will be, the vaccines that will be given will be Pfizer, Moderna, and I say it all the time, and Johnson & Johnson. Children from the age of 5 on up can come and get their vaccine. So we're really, really excited about this. And another thing, in the Epps family, please, if you're a part of the Epps family, related to them or know of them, I am in need of reaching that family. Please give me a call at 360-689-0316. This is very, very important that we reach the Epps family or any family member.
All right, Anton, I'm going to give you the last word there, sir. It is a pleasure to have met you today. This is Anton Robinson, Director of Surviving Change and the MOM program, Men of Motivation. Anton, give us some parting words today to think about until next Tuesday.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me on this platform, you and Miss Deborah. And I would like everybody to acknowledge, there's not enough people to give platforms for young black men, young black women, or just black people alone on their own platform. So I want to tell y'all thank you for allowing me to be here, and Miss Deborah for getting me here. So thank you. And then I just want to tell everybody, man, let's stop hating this and just start loving, man, because it's, there's a million beautiful things that you don't see every day that you walk past. And I'm going to tell you from the experiences in my life, when you walk past those roses, smell them and enjoy them, because sometimes the small things, there's going to be a moment in your life when you might be wishing that them small things you could just have. So I'm just enjoy life, man, and love. And for the youth, be great. Be great. Anybody that you look up to, make sure it's something that's positive, and make sure that you take the great from them, whether it's your mom or your dad. Take their great and throw the rest in the trash if you feel it's not going to help you go further in life and be great. So I just want to tell the youth, man, you're the future, and I hope that the world will see that, and I hope that the world knows that the next doctors that they might have to sit under the needle under, that's our youth. So we need to and as we see it, we need more doctors and nurses. We need more lawyers. We need more black. We need more minority, more Mexican, more Iranian. We need more culture in the world that loves, and all the cultures of color. It really ain't a color thing, man. And we need to stop thinking on the money line too. We just need to get back to love. I mean, I guess I'll leave us with that, man. I'm here because people are showing me love. So I just hope that everybody gives the same type of love back. Pay forward.
Well, that's it.
Before you cut us off, I just want to, our new director for Surviving Change is Velma Smith Mays, and Anton is the director of MOM, Men of
All right.
and Sisters. Yes.
You got it. So again, tune in.
Here. Yeah.
5 p.m. Tuesday night. We will see you then. For Raymond, Anton, and Deborah Moore Jackson, I am Marwan Cameron, and this is The Conduit.
God bless you.
We will see you next week.